Hello everybody, and welcome to the shop here at Golden Artist Colors. I am Greg Watson, a materials and applications specialist here at Golden. I'm part of the tech team. We're the artists in-house who are here to help you with any of your issues or any of your questions about our products. Please feel free to communicate with us as you need. Today's episode of Golden on Golden is about our color mixer. It's a new and improved version of the color mixer that we are excited to share with you. And so we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about all the different features, and we're going to walk you through how you can successfully use this tool to benefit your studio practice. The color mixer is something that we've been kind of working on for the last decade plus. It started in about 2010 when we designed a tint and glaze poster based off of a huge data set of information where we took all of our colors, we mixed it with a gel to make glazes, we mixed it with white to make tints, and then we created this huge printed poster. A lot of folks had this in their studio for a number of years, and it was really helpful. We don't have these anymore, unfortunately. But what it did is it sort of sparked an interest in taking our actual color samples, turning it into digital information, and then trying to figure out how we can then make a mixing software that then you could use in your studio. 2012 was the first time we had a mixer. We made improvements in 16 and then again in 2024. With each iteration, there was improvements to the interface and or the digital framework behind the scenes that helped the mixer run. This new version is really exciting. It's got a couple new features that are amazingly helpful. Primarily that there is a select your own palette option. So you can select the colors that you have in your studio and bring those into the mixer to use so that you know that when mix results come through, it's based off colors you actually have. The other is we have now a Williamsburg mixer. So we took and we created a huge data set of information based off of Williamsburg's colors, and we made a mixer dedicated to that line of product. The mixers now are available in each website, Williamsburg and Golden, same exact interface. So we're going to go through and we're going to show you how the Williamsburg mixer works today. But if you're using Golden acrylics, it's going to be the same exact kind of procedure to make mixers and use the tool. We also have an instant compliment button and new concise technical data that you can then learn more about each individual color, CMYK, RGB, etc. All right. So we get questions sometimes, how does this mixer work? How is this information designed? Well, you all know we have a lab here at Golden, and down there they were able to take all of our colors and they were making mixtures with the color mixed with different ratios of white, that same color mixed with different ratios of black. Then we would take them and we would draw those mixtures down onto a drawdown card, allow them to dry into a solid uniform film, so if any color shift were going to take place, this is where it would happen. And then we take those dry films and we bring them over to a color reading tool called a spectrophotometer. We put the color sample onto the spectro, we make the reading, and then what it does is it provides us an assessment of that color in a color space called CIE-LAB. That Scilab color space is a dimensional space that really gives us all the information we need to know about that color to get the CMYK and the RGB information. Then we can take that, we build a digital back program that then assesses each color's color bias, tinting strength, etc., and determines how it would mix together with those other colors, and then the interface is where we're able to do our mixing. So it's kind of an interesting thing to do. But keep in mind that as you are working on this tool, you realize that there's a lot of steps that go from the actual color to the digital screen. So you're going through several steps. So really there is an expectation that this is an approximation of the color that you're trying to get to. It's not going to be completely exact because there's a lot of space for wiggle room between color on a screen that's being illuminated and produced by light and color in actual space and time that has light reflecting off of it, bouncing into your eye, showing you that color with all its nuance and subtlety. The nice thing about this mixer and the very special thing about this mixer is all these colors and all this data is based off of physical color, based off of the actual colors in our product lines. So it's pretty accurate to what you would find in Golden Artist Colors paints and in Williamsburg oils. Okay, so the first thing that you are going to want to do as you get acclimated to the program is create an account. So you're going to want to go into the machine. You're going to want to press login, enter an email, and then create your password, so that when you do that, then you'll be able to access the acrylic paint mixer, the oil paint mixer directly. And when you do, you'll go in, your saved colors will be there, your saved palettes will be there, and you'll be ready to go with all of your preferences already loaded up. Okay, let's look at what it looks like between the desktop and the mobile version. The desktop version is a little bit of a bigger screen. It gives you more information all in one view. It's based off of 3 tabs on the left-hand side. The match color tab, where you're going to sort of upload your images to select from, color systems, where you have your RGB, CMYK, and your palette builder. And then whatever you select and whatever you mix from on the left-hand side, it's then going to sort of populate your mixture on the right with all the tubes and colors that you use for that mix. In the mobile view, though, it's 4 tabs. So you have the tabs that we had before in the 3-tab layout on the right-hand side, and your mixer tab is its own tab. So basically what's going to happen as you make mixtures on your phone is then it's going to toggle you over to the mixer tab when your results come up. And then you just click the other tabs when you're ready to modify those mixes or select a new view or whatever. All right, so that's kind of how that works. One of the best features of this new program is the palette builder feature. So let's look at what you can do when you want to go build a palette. You'll see the tab palette builder up there. You click on that, and then you have 2 options to build a new palette. You can start absolutely fresh, and you can click that new palette button and build it as you see fit. Or you can go into the pre-existing palettes that are on this thing, and you can click one of them. You can save a copy of it, and you can modify it with colors, reducing colors, adding colors, whatever, and then you can name it as you need to, so that you can get back to that anytime you need. And it'll be saved onto the computer every time you log in. Let me show you how to do that in real time. I'm going to sort of bring us back over. Todd's going to bring us back over to my computer here. I'm going to go up to Palette Builder. I'm going to click on that. I'm already in the landscape set here. So if I went to this is the view I think that you'll see when you kind of enter in here. If I wanted to create a new palette, I'm just going to go to the New Palette tab. I'm going to say New 1. Name it however you want, except that it has to be 20 characters or less. So keep that in mind. It'll reject your name if it's longer than 20 characters. I'm going to create that. And so then I can start building this thing. I click the plus button. I go in here, I grab some stuff. Let's say I'm a CAD fan, right? So I like my cadmiums. I'm going to go in and create a palette based off of cadmiums, right? I'm going to keep adding. I'm going to go over here, grab a green. I'm going to get this Viridian pulled up. Love me some Viridian. Beautiful, cool, bluish green. Nice translucency. Let's get a blue in here, ultra blue. All right, so then I start building this palette. You can't have a palette without white and black, so I'm going to go in there real quick and get that on there. I guess you probably could, though. Most of the time I like to have those on my palette, right? So I have a little bit of a full spectrum here. But let's say I want to get rid of these. All of a sudden I don't want cadmiums in my palette. I can come in here, I can X these out. I can freshen that up, and then I can go back in here and I can grab a bismuth vanadate instead. Or I can come in my red and I can take and I can do a pyro red. okay? And I can have a similar palette, and I can change it as I see fit. All right, so it says base palette here, but this is actually our new one palette. This is the one that's highlighted currently, okay? So that's kind of how you build that palette. It's there, it's ready to go, and you can adjust it as needed. If I wanted to modify a pre-existing palette, forgot that I was going to do that. I'm going to go, let's say, to the landscape color, and I'm going to hit Save As, and then I'm going to see it says Copy Landscape. So I'm going to take some of this out of here. I only have 20 characters there, so I'm going to do Landscape Colors New, and then I'm going to copy it. And that's going to come up as an option. I'm going to go to Landscape Colors New. Here's what it looks like, and then I can modify that if I want to, okay? So this currently is the same as the current landscape palette. I'm going to take some colors out of there just to differentiate those, okay? And it saves it right when I modify it. It instantly saves it, so don't worry about it. Change it as you see fit, all right? Have a good time with that. That's a huge feature, and it's really helpful, all right? So let's go to this Match Color tab up here and see what we got. I wanted this not to be here, but I'll show you why. Really, when you enter this page, it's going to look like this, right? You're going to see that spectrum there, and you're going to have the option to kind of click around on these images. The spectrum and the barn are the preloaded palettes, right? So I can click around on here. What the picker is showing me at its point is where I've selected. It's going to populate that color in this little round window here, and then it's going to push it up to this match button here, right? So if I go down here to this barn, I'm going to click around. I'm going to select some, kind of neutral greenish grass right there. I'm going to hit match, and then it's going to go and it's going to match. Now, if I don't like what's happening over here, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I want to see if I can get better results. I'm going to come down to the actual landscape color set. That's going to increase my options. And I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to see if it brings anything else in there. Nah, it didn't. It's pretty much the same. So I'm going to go over here. Let's try to match the sky. And it's picking from the landscape color set, and it's bringing in this, these options. So if we want to try the new palette, let's see what the new palette looks like here if I wanted to go with that. Similar. Right? So I'm getting some pretty good results, and it's selecting out of using completely different colors with the exception of the titanium white, okay? If I wanted to add a JPEG here, I'm just going to add that same JPEG that's already here. I have, this landscape image loaded. I'm going to grab it. You just go and navigate to where your images are in your computer, grab the image, press open, it'll put it into the queue, and then you come down here and you grab that image, it'll put it into the selection window, and then you can start sort of bouncing around on that and grabbing color as you want to match it. And again, this is going to get you into a pretty close approximation to where you want to get. So if we were to go over here, let's say I like what I'm seeing, but I want it to be more of a yellowish brown. These are the tubes that I can modify to increase or decrease each color. I got bismuth vanadate here. I want to get some more yellow in there. So I'm going to see if I crank this up to 10 parts bismuth vanadate, what I get. And it gives me this nice greenish color. If I want to reduce that, I do that. I can modify by sliding this cap right here. And keep in mind, this is how you're going to be, building the ratios later. This is how you're going to be building your selection. So that sort of distance right there could be seen as the amount of paint that you're going to squeeze out. A lot of paint, a little paint, a very little amount of paint, okay? So you're going to sort of use this as a visual guide to determine how much color each mix requires. And if I don't want bismuth vanadate in this mix, I can click it right out, and then it kicks it out of that mixture, all right? And if I want to add something else, put some Viridian in there, see what happens. That's how you do it. You can remove and you can add with that click of a button, okay? So while we're over here in this mixed results section, let's look at some of the features that are over on this part of the screen so that we can kind of go through that. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, we just discussed some of the colors that are being used to make the mixtures. Those are located in those tubes. And then as you go around in the upper right-hand corner, that mix result button is going to give you all the technical information about the mix, about the swatch itself, not the target, the swatch, okay? The target and the swatch aren't always exactly the same. It gives you the RGB and the CMYK, as well as the weight ratios. The weight ratios are there in case you want to get a gram scale or you want to use weights to make your mixtures. You can literally break this down to grams if you wanted to be as precise as you possibly could. If we toggle over to the Color Systems tab, that is where you see CMYK and RGB mounts entered into the system. That swatch is then reflected here as those two type of color systems. You can modify those and change those in order to tweak your color. If this is your thing and you get a swatch of color from a client that says, here's the RGB for my logo, you could go into the Color Systems tab, put the RGB from the logo in here, and that way you can work your maquette up or your study up with the exact color that they have as part of their logo design. All right, so we're back over here. You have your mix results up top. As you sort of go to the right of that mixture, you'll see your tints there. The tints are the mixture color mixed with titanium white. Okay, so you have a ratio of 10 parts color to 1 part white up top, 3 parts color to 1 part titanium white, all the way down to 1 part color to 10 parts white. And that gives you instead of having to add white on the left-hand side through the tubes, you can just look down here for sort of a quick reference as to what's happening with the tints. All right, and don't forget, ask some questions in the chat. We got some teammates over there who are working away to try to keep questions answered. So make sure that you ask your questions there, and they may push some questions up here so that we can ask them on air. Below the tints is complement of the mixture. So this is a new button that we're pretty excited about because you can click that, it'll flip to the complement using that same palette. All right, we'll show you that here in a minute. You can reduce the number of colors. Let's say you have 4 colors and you want to really simplify your life. I think we're all kind of pushing toward that right now. Let's just take it back to simple. You can start to take 4 colors down to 3 colors, 3 colors down to 2 colors, and then it kind of maxes out at 2 colors because otherwise it's just a single tube of color. Okay, clear your mixtures there with the Clears All button. That'll start you fresh. Over on the lower left-hand corner, you have your Save Mixture. You click that, you get your mixture in, you give it a name, and it'll log it down at the lower part of your screen here. You can add these colors that are used in the mixture you can add those to a palette. And then just above that, you have that sort of rounded arrow. That's your Undo button. You can use that to undo your, go 5 steps back. Okay? So while we're in here, I'm just going to go ahead and, let's look at the CIE distance. I forgot about that little piece right there. The CIE distance where it says 0.17 is the distance between the target and the actual swatch. So your mixer is making results off of color, what the color can give you. It's not always going to absolutely match up with the target. So the CIE distance tells you if it's far or close away from what you're trying to get to. 0 to 5, you're really not going to notice that much. 5 to 10, it starts to become a little bit of a different color. It's still same family. It's far enough off though that we put a yellow exclamation point there to sort of let you know that you might consider sort of changing your palette. And then when it's 10 plus, it's pretty different. So we're going to give you a red exclamation point. You can maybe add some new colors onto your palette to see if you can get a little closer. But that's just basically an indication that, yep, you're close, but not close enough. All right? So that's the CIE distance, and you might find that that's pretty helpful depending on what you're trying to get to. So let's look at some of this stuff in real time. I'm going to bring up this orange read. No, you know what? Let's bring up, is it the orange read one we want to do? Yeah, we want to bring up this orange read landscape, and we're going to go through and check in on some of this stuff. So I think we looked at the tube colors here. We can modify those if we wanted to. Mix results, that's what that's going to look like. Your RGB CMY and your weight ratios. You click on that to make it disappear. Here's the tints for this particular color. I'm going to come over, I'm going to click this instant complement. It's using the same palette, okay, and so it provides me with a complement. The target would be the ideal complement to that color. The mix results are a little off, so you can see that my CIE distance is above 10, so I get my red exclamation point. Now, if I wanted to go directly back to that complement, I could hit this. It's not going to take me back exactly, but it's going to use, the machine works on a number of averages, and it's sort of a lot of stuff overlaps here. So a lot of the mixtures will be similar, but made with different ratios, or maybe even made with different colors. So if you wanted to go back to the exact same complement, instead of hitting that button again, you would just go back over here. It'll bring you back, it'll pop once, and then it'll pop me back to that. But then this target stays in place because we asked the machine to find this new target and this new match, okay? If I didn't want that to be there, I could click this out and I can remove that target if it were confusing my view. Okay, in this I can then come over here, I can reduce these colors. This is actually kind of confusing here, isn't it? Let's do this. I'm gonna take that off, I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna bring us back here so that you can see that target. I wanna see that you can view, when I hit reduce colors, that it brought me down to 2 colors, and it's not terribly far from the what the target is shooting for, okay? It'll only bring me down to 2 colors, so that's as much as I can go. I'm going to go back to where we were. I'm going to go simplify ratio. What happens when I simplify ratio the first time is it's saying, all right, we're going to bring you up to 100 pieces. We're going to say if there were 100 parts to this thing, boom, we're going to click from what you have to 100. Then if I click it again, it's going to say, we're going to bring it down to 20 parts, right? Then we go to 10 parts. Then we come finally to 5 parts. You could see that I'm pretty far away from my target right here. But this is kind of how that simplify ratio works. Sometimes you can simplify ratio down and you can get pretty darn close, and you can get kind of like, it's sometimes easier to view visually what it looks like when you have, I'm going to hit that one more time to bring us back to where we were, to visualize what it's like if it's only 10 parts, you know. We'll talk about that later. We're actually going to do some mixing here in a little bit. If I liked this set of colors, I thought, man, I'm getting a lot of great options off of this color. I can add this to my palette. I can add it to new one, which some of these may be on here. Probably not, though. I don't think so. So I just added all those colors to my new one palette. They're there if I need them. Again, I can view that palette, and I can see that those colors are added. Okay? I'll go back to my color match. I'm going to save the mixture. This is already saved, but I'm going to let's tweak it a little bit. Let's come up here and let's make a big old orange version of it. All right, it's not that orange. That tells you a little something about the strength of that permanent yellow. All right, not terribly strong, so a lot didn't do a little, or a lot did a little. I'm going to press save mixture. I'm going to go up here, I'm going to go bright orange. Okay, brighty. All right, I'm going to press OK, and that's saved. Bright orange will be down here every time I want to come into my program and look at this stuff. If I don't like bright orange anymore, just like every other thing here, I can add, I can subtract. Bright orange will go away, it will no longer be here. All right, so that pretty much gives you a view of everything here. At the end, if I'm ready to move on to my next mixture, I'm just going to clear all. I'm going to hit OK, and that's going to take me back to a nice fresh screen, and I'm ready to go. Okay? So I think what we're going to do here is, at this point now, you've sort of gotten an overview of the mixture and kind of the different features that are on there. It's pretty straightforward. If you have questions about it, you can always call our tech team. We're here to answer your questions anytime. If you have some weird results, we've put a leave feedback button on the mixer, which I actually think is really helpful because you can kind of click on that. It'll open up a box where you can kind of type in your experience, and then you can send it off to our IT team and they can have a look at it. So we appreciate any feedback. It's a tool that we continuously want to improve. And so that you can be crazy successful in your studio with your mixing. The hope is that when you use this tool, you're going to save money and save time, and you're going to learn about the colors more efficiently than if you were just mixing the colors fresh and live in action. So what we want to do is we're going to go back to a couple colors that we had pre-selected on our mixer, and we're going to show you kind of how to go about thinking about those kind of like those ratios and the amounts for each color. So let's jump into this one here. We're going to go with that lime green. We have the landscape palette selected here. So as you saw earlier, that's I think a 8 or 10 color palette. It's pretty limited. What it's calling for here is 93 parts permanent yellow light, 6 parts titanium white, and a half a part of sap green. So the reason we wanted to do this one is because it had a fraction of a part. Now, a new aspect of the mixer is that it'll go to 1/100th of a part. So this one is a 0.5. It basically is telling you this color's strong, it doesn't take a lot to make this mixture. All right, so let's look at the overhead right here. I got some of these colors pre-squeezed and ready to go. Now I'm saying sort of just visually, if this is 100 parts, then this is 6 parts there, or 93 parts, this is 6 parts. I'm only just sort of like visually, I'm dividing this thing up into, segments. This might be more than, what it's calling for. But because white is not going to sort of change this too insanely, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to mix these two together. And let's start by mixing the two kind of more mild colors together before we come in with the more aggressive color. You'll get to know which colors those are as you start using the tool and as you start mixing with some of this stuff. And most of us know what those are. Your phthalo blues, your anthraquinones, your quinacridones, your naphthals, all that kind of stuff, has more tinting strength. Even your cadmiums can be pretty powerful, much more tinting strength than some of your lighter colors. So let's say I've mixed that, and I can tell that I don't quite have enough greenish to get me where I want to be. Now, even though I think this is probably a half of a part, I'm only going to grab half of that part. And then I'm even going to kind of like come over here and do a little subtle side mixture before I come in and mix that into my whole pile. Because we all know that once you start mixing something in to some more sort of easygoing colors, you can take that mixture and you can transform it in a very big way. And that's how you end up with massive piles of color that you don't want. And so here we just use a teeny bit of that green, and already it's giving us, I think, a pretty nice lime color. Now, I think in my view, this looks pretty nice. I'm not sure how it looks on the screen. Yeah, not bad from here, right, Todd? So let me just kind of push that out. And sort of the takeaway here is if you have some strong colors on the palette, go ahead, mix your more mild-mannered colors first, maybe your lighter tinted colors first, and then come in with your stronger colors after that, and see if you can just kind of add a little bit at a time until you start to get where you want to be. All right. So let's move now to this kind of more orangey kind of reeds color. This was in that mountain scene. This was in the foreground over by the water there, just behind that on the right hand side. See that beautiful glowing orange? That's where I pulled that from. That's a very sort of saturated image. All right, so we're going to come in here. I have these laid out. We have 15 parts of the perm yellow light again, and then this is cad red light. Right, so if I had, break this up into 3 parts, that's 3, 3, and 3. And then up here, I've done the same thing. And I have 5 3s up there, 3 3s here. That's my 15 to 9. It's a rough estimate. It just gets me started. Again, we're trying to get into the ballpark here, and this is hopefully going to do that. Now, I know from experience that my cad is definitely stronger than my perm yellow, but I'm just going to kind of be bold with it today because we're just going for it, and we're going to see what happens. If I need to, I can add more permanent yellow to the mix. Yeah, I think see how strong that cadmium is. It's gorgeous orange, but that did push real strong toward that red. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to neutralize this. So, you know, you get your color theory going, you have your complements, you know, you have your orangey red, and that's going to complement with this kind of, you know, greenish color here, sort of. You know, typically blue is the complement to orange, but this green is, you know, pushing in that direction. I'm going to take part of that, and I'm going to put it in here and see what we got. We're going to head in this direction, try to knock that back. So it's going to neutralize and it's going to send it into toward a brown. And that's what we want. We want a nice chromatic brown in this case. That's actually pretty good. Not too bad. Let's get it all the way integrated and see if we need to modify. And you get the picture here. You can try this with much smaller piles of color, but if you do, just take it real slow, take your time, get to know the color, you know, the mixing tendencies of each color, and then go from there. What do you think, Todd? Look all right? Yeah. So that one's pretty good. That's like the bright kind of orange that we were trying to get to. And if you wanted to, you know, tint that mixture, we have a volume kind of icon in the way, but that, you know, those tints would be on the right-hand side there if you wanted to see what it looked like when you tinted that. All right, and let's try that. We'll try a couple more. Let's do Distant Hills. This one's got, this is a 4-color mix. These are all pretty similar in terms of their tinting strength. Let's just go for it and see what happens when we mix this together. Sevres Blue, Burnt Sienna, Titanium White, and Sap Green. The Sap Green gets used a lot in this landscape palette. It's just kind of used for neutralization and, you know, kind of bringing some colors together. Now, these are all working out pretty good, but that's not to say every time you come in here and every time you mix that you're going to get stuff that's spot on. It's always going to be sort of an approximation, so keep that in mind. We've hit certain colors on here and we've tried to mix them where we get some wacky results. And so, you know, the IT team is constantly trying to, you know, sort of improve the tool. So make sure that you go in, play with it, and then get in touch with us if you see anything that's not right. That will give us an opportunity to go in and try to fix that. Now, I think that, in my view, that's a little bit more kind of yellowish green than what I want. So you remember that we had the Titanium White and the Sevres Blue on that mixture. I could come in here and just kind of add a little bit more of those. I could just pop a little bit on the side here. The Sevres Blue is essentially it's phthalo blue mixed together with white. I'm going to grab half this pile because phthalo is pretty strong. I'm going to go in there with that. I'm going to take half this white one, go in, and then I'm going to charge full steam ahead and see if we can get this to look more like the swatch on the right. And this is kind of what we're talking about. You can take these, can modify them as you need to get to where you want to be. And it's super gratifying to just kind of like go in here, get to know these colors, and then be able to change the mix results ever so slightly to then provide you with the mixture that you're kind of after. And I think that's a little closer right there. That's good. I'd be happy with that if I were trying to do Distant Hills. And then you could always change it, you know, during the painting process, right? You got your mixture, you're ready to go, and you're kind of then modifying on the fly. And the final one that we're going to do is this a gray. It's really subtle, so we thought it would kind of interesting to see what we could get. This we selected the base palette to get these colors. The base palette is more or less the whole palette minus a couple oddball colors that we thought the mixer was just choosing, you know, kind of some wacky colors. So we took them out because we didn't think a lot of people were using those. Dianthus Pink, Unbleached Titanium, Ivory Black, and then this is Phthalo Turquoise. All right, Phthalo Turquoise is a blend of phthalo green mixed with phthalo blue. All right, so it's just a strong bluish green. These two are pretty mild-mannered, so I'm going to mix them together. They seem like they're going to, you know, play well together. The Unbleached Titanium is just going to take the edge off of that Dianthus Pink. It's going to knock it back a little bit and give it a little bit more of a muted look. Okay, so I'm just going to take that. The phthalo is definitely the stronger of the two characters over here, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to grab some of this black. Let me just get some of it. I'm going to take it, put it on my knife. See, I feel that's bold. I'm just going to take a little less than that. But I'm going to come back for more, I think. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back for more. I want you to turn into gray. Okay. Okay, I'm going all in, people. All right, so I got a nice sort of pinkish gray. Again, we're thinking, you know, pinkish, reddish. That's going to be a complement to the greenish that we have over here in our phthalo turquoise. Yes, that's looking good. That's starting to go where I want it to. Right? It's heading over there. Now let's take some of this. You could see how like chromatic that is. Let's just kind of do this first. Mix it in there and see what we get. Because I want that to go bluish. That's got a nice blue, neutral kind of vibe on that color that we're trying to hit. Yeah, that's going there. Is it a little purple? I can't tell. It might be a little purple. But anyhow, if I needed to, I could modify that a little more. Let's see what happens when I do this. And then that's kind of how you can, that's how you can play this game. Again, you're sort of like, you're thinking, all right, I got approximations. I'm going to get close. This thing's going to get me into the ballpark. You know, we think about it as you're in the zip code, you're even in the neighborhood, but you're not necessarily at the exact address. And that's going to be, you know, an opportunity for you to play and find and explore and get to know. And so that's basically what that mixer is going to provide you with, is an opportunity to, you know, learn about the color and enjoy mixing digitally and then taking it into real time so that you can see what you can get and then prepare for your painting. So again, we're really excited about this tool. The fact that it's based off of the actual color, you know, sort of gives it a stronger relationship to the paints that we make and that we love and that you use to make your work. So we hope you'll use this and it will be a helpful tool in your studio. If you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to email us at help@goldenpaints.com. Our number 800-959-6543. We have goldenpaints.com. Our new website is goldenartistcolors.com, and there you can access the all the different paint lines. So we're sort of like wanted to put it all under one umbrella, and then you have all of the brands there. And then again, go in, make an account, enjoy the mixer, and let us know what you think. And we're so glad to have joined you today and that you joined us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much.